Okay, welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world today. My name is Jeremy Rosbach from Broadcom Software, and I would like to welcome you to the Experience-Driven NOC. I'm very excited to be with you today, especially for this ONUG Fall 2022 Proof of Concept. I am joined by my teammate, Jason Normandin, part of the DX NetOps product team as well here at Broadcom Software. And I hope that we're going to be able to really help you understand this subtitle here, Operationalizing Experience for the New Enterprise Network. Every single word in that subtitle is very important. We're going to show you how the combination of DX NetOps network monitoring software and AppNeta's digital experience monitoring together help network operations teams operationalize experience for the new enterprise network. So let's get started. I think we're all very much aware that nothing is same for network operations anymore. Applications and network delivery is not housed within the four walls of the data center anymore. The pandemic has moved users and employees out of the office to work from home, even work from anywhere. Data center workloads are migrating to cloud environments. The applications that we used to use locally on our laptops are now hosted in SaaS environments, right? Even dedicated MPLS connections to branch offices, etc. Way too expensive. Enterprises are migrating to SD-WAN technologies for a cheaper and more secure way to get to those cloud and SaaS hosted environments. So what does everything I just said have in common? It's the internet, right? It's the primary delivery path now for today's digital experience. Users are everywhere. Resources can be anywhere. And with the internet being the common denominator for all the new challenges and changes in networking today, the internet has become the new enterprise network. So, it's really exciting to see the first integrations of AppNeta's digital experience monitoring with DX NetOps network monitoring software here at Broadcom Software, as we continue to use the metrics from AppNeta's digital experience monitoring and helping network operations teams really focus on network delivery's impact on the user experience and not just focusing on up-down issues, right? Network operations teams can focus on an up-down issue, but it may not be delivering a critical user experience. Maybe it could be delivering a server backup. And we want to focus and isolate triage and troubleshooting times on the digital experience and how the network is delivering it optimally. And we, Jason coined this term, experience is the new benchmark for network operations, as it should be today for today's digital world. And at Broadcom Software, we see three areas where we help network operations teams achieve that. Innovating at scale by being able to manage the most software-defined technologies and traditional network technologies in one platform, especially helping network operation teams not be the bottleneck. Let's say when the architects are deploying a new software-defined WAN architecture, and then they go to the operations teams and say, you need to start monitoring this. And, we don't want our operations teams to say, wait, we don't have the technology to monitor that. With DX NetOps and AppNeta from Broadcom Software, we really support the most software-defined technologies out there today. So network operations teams are ready almost day zero, to be honest, to start monitoring very complex new technologies. And we help optimize operations, by bringing in user experience metrics along with network performance metrics. We're able to help operations teams not waste triage times, but actually improve troubleshooting and triage times to really isolate and understand what they should be focusing on when it comes to network performance impact on today's digital experience. And then finally, protecting the digital experience. The fact that AppNeta enables our network monitoring solution to really expand its visibility beyond the edge of the network. to home wireless networks, of course, because we're all working from home, into ISP networks, cloud environments, and SaaS environments. Honestly, there's really no place a network packet can hide anymore, to be honest, when it comes to this expanded visibility. And operations teams need this expandability, right? Or expanded visibility. We just said most of the digital experience exists outside of today's data centers, but operations teams are not gods outside of today's data center. So expanding that visibility into ISP, cloud, SaaS environments, even home wireless for true end-to-end operational visibility is how we help protect the digital experience. And if we just look real quick as I expand this out, what does innovating at speed look like? It means, starting with alarms to be able to validate and continually understand new software-defined deployments end to end, where they start, maybe from the home wireless network and end up into a SaaS environment. Always starting from an alarm, being able to isolate end-to-end visibility, underlay and overlay visibility and network delivery across managed and unmanaged network. Easy insights into what's working, what's not, red, green, yellow, and then using that information to understand what capacity looks like over time, how's it behaving, how it may look like in the future. And then, most importantly, active testing of network delivery along these new software-defined technologies before, during, and after deployment to constantly understand what network delivery's impact will be on the digital experience. How do we help optimize operations? We understand our customers need unified access to all network delivery metrics. That means alarms, performance, flow, events, configuration data, log data, analytical data, all in one platform. If you don't have any of that information in front of you in order to troubleshoot, you're missing one piece of the pie, right? If you're not collecting logs and the problem can be found in a log, then you're going to be wasting time and spinning your wheels as you try to triage a solution. Using all this information in context to understand what the user experience looks like along the entire network path, the health of that network path, and then digging down very easily and quickly using, standard operating procedures to identify the symptoms, the probable cause, and recommended actions to take to fix it easily. And then finally, how do we help protect the digital experience? Of course, we understand our customers need real-time end-to-end visibility into the remote user experience, even if it's across ISP and cloud networks that the network operations teams have no visibility into. So again, always starting with an alarm, as we do, standard operating procedures within network operations teams, moving in context from that alarm into what the path of that digital experience looks like from a network delivery point of view, being able to isolate the specific device that may be having data loss, packet loss, jitter, high latency, etc., and then looking at the metrics of that device to really isolate and understand, yes, I'm on the right track, capacity is out of whack, maybe data jitter is out of whack, so I definitely am on the right path. Taking this information, especially if it's from an ISP environment, back to the ISP network and getting them to magically fix the issue. So I'm just going to quickly tease Jason's experience-driven NOC demo here to really help you understand what it means to operationalize the new enterprise network, which is the internet. And operationalizing it means to be able to quickly and easily, within minimal clicks, isolate the root cause of a degradation within network delivery of a digital experience using your standard operating procedures that you always do, even if it means on complex network architectures. So again, always starting with an alarm for detailed information about what's going on, reducing the noise from that alarm, correlating all the events that are associated with that alarm, and then of course, having your standard operating procedures within fingertips or at your fingertips right within the dashboard. Easily be able to understand from that alarm the health of all the network paths that your user experience may be traversing as it relates to latency, packet loss, and jitter. And then moving within the workflow, your network operations workflow, moving from the isolated network path to understand what detailed analysis of performance looks like in the past and over time, again, over the most important metrics like packet loss, latency, jitter, capacity, and then going into visualizing the network path of that entire digital experience to really understand from end to end the performance at every single hop, even if it is with outside of the data center into unmanaged networks like ISP and cloud environments. And then boom, isolating the specific device that is having issues. Here we're seeing data loss threshold breach above 2%. Obviously, this is low for demo purposes, but again, this device is in an ISP environment. It is the device that is degrading the user experience, and within minimal clicks, being able to isolate the root cause of the user experience outage to an unmanaged network, this being an ISP. So Jason, I'm happy to turn it over to you now. You can share your screen and walk us through in depth what the experience-driven NOC looks like.
Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate that. Pleased to be able to share this with you all today. All right, so you should be viewing what we call our alarm console in NetOps, and this is that real-time operator view. We know operations lives and breathes through alarms and tickets, and we also know that there's a need to minimize noise and provide what we call actionable alarms, actionable intelligence to allow operations to drive to the root cause of the problem. An example I'm going to show today is how we're looking at the concept of network change. Now, we know networks are dynamic, and especially as we cross over our controlled networks into the wild west of the internet, things are going to change, and they certainly do, and that's not necessarily a problem. AppNetics continually monitors the path a particular source to destination takes, and will notify and bring events forward when a path has changed. Again, this is not necessarily a problem, so you don't want to raise these to operational awareness. What we do instead is want to provide, again, that intelligent insight. So one of the capabilities of NetOps is significant alarm noise reduction. So we're looking at an example here where we're looking at excessive network changes for a particular path that we're monitoring. These network changes, again, occur normally, not necessarily a problem, but when they're occurring too frequently, much like the case of a traditional network flapping situation, we do want to raise awareness because this can lead to certainly performance degradation and is certainly a factor that the operation team wants to be aware of. So we can see here, plain English in the alarm, that we have an excessive number of changes have occurred, more than 11 in the period of an hour. This is configurable, but it's provided to enable operations to understand change. So with the tool, we can simply drill into the particular link in question and bring right over to AppNetics interface where we can look at the delivery and we can understand the route that this particular transaction is taking. We can look at the current route, and we can also jump back in time to understand the changes that have occurred over time for this particular path. Here we can see certainly a very dynamic history, and we can traverse and understand these hops that are taking. Again, this is going to provide intelligence for operations to be able to understand change and to be able to understand when that change is impactful to the user experience. And additionally, we're monitoring the performance of these particular paths. Now, we don't just want to simply indicate whenever there's a blip. We don't want operations chasing blips. We want to, again, look at actionable, looking at intelligent alarms. So for example, using the deviation baselining available in the NetOps solution suite, we're able to start to look at the performance of paths, not from a static threshold perspective, but compared to itself. We do same hour of day, same day of week baselining, so we can ensure that the details and the information that we're viewing is going to be appropriate. We don't want to compare Monday at 9 a.m. to Sunday at 2 a.m. And raise unnecessary events. So in this case, we can see that there was a threshold violation related to our round trip time. And this alarm is configured to generate when that round trip time has deviated by more than 50% of its baseline average for that hour and day for 30 out of 60 minutes. And we give operators a convenient ability to drill in and easily understand the performance that is occurring for that particular path. I can go right into my utilization and performance overview, and I can scroll down and I can look at my round trip time. Now, what we're going to provide is a very clean and simple display for the operator to be able to compare what we consider to be normal baseline performance for this particular path. We can see the actual measurements that have occurred compared to that baseline. And then we provide a shading of what we consider normal. And this is looking at a +1 and +1 or minus standard deviation. You can see here we had a significant deviation in that round trip time, and an event was triggered so that operators can respond quickly and effectively. We have visibility into all of the metrics, and we can easily compare these metrics to problems that are occurring. Each chart will have the alarms associated for this particular path, so we can understand, for example, how capacity could be impacting my round trip time. Beyond the standard operational alarm responses, we can also provide dashboarding to provide a more analytical perspective. So here's an example of what we call our scorecard view. We're looking at a set of paths that we're monitoring. We can very easily use clear operation indicators to identify if there are critical or major or minor issues occurring. We can simply select and quickly identify where those problems might be. In this case, we can see higher than threshold round trip times. And we can use our scorecard to do comparison views. Now, one of the great things that we can do is we have dynamic grouping capabilities. So for example, if I want to view my performance across my ISPs, it's as simple as a couple of clicks. And now I'm viewing a scorecard that has been changed to look at by ISP. I can quickly understand capacity utilization. I could even quickly change this to look at round trip time to identify my slowest performing paths, again, per ISP. These groupings can be controlled by the users such that we can take advantage of any tags or attributes that we automatically define, as well as any custom grouping that might be ideal for the users. Again, it gives me a good ability to compare my performance across my ISPs. In addition, we know that understanding things in the future is important, being able to project where we might have problems. So for example, I can look at a capacity projection report. Again, I can look at this by my ISP, or I can change it to even look at other groupings like tags. So if I want to compare my production and pre-production environments, this is simple to do as well. So now I'm able to look at my production, my pre-production, understand my current capacity for each of those paths. And this is the actual capacity as measured by AppNeta. So we're not just using link speeds, we're actually measuring this capacity each time we go out and we do synthetic transactions across this path. I can then look at it at a 30-day, a 90-day, and 180-day projection. So this gives capacity planners the ability to understand not just network resources, but actual resources consumed for that particular path based off of the experience metrics being gathered. This is going to give them the ability to drill in and identify where those problems are occurring before they impact my teams. Also, these are completely customizable, so I'm able to provide different levels of projection, 30, 90, and 180 day, for example, but I can set these anywhere from 1 day to 2 years in the future. So really a flexible capability to be able to provide that level of visibility.
A great example of how we have developed the integrations of both solutions to deliver the experience-driven NOC. I think you really made it easy to understand how we're helping our customers operationalize the new enterprise network being the internet. What that means is making it easy as possible with out-of-the-box workflows and standard operating procedures to triage what are complex networks and even unmanaged networks like ISP, cloud, SaaS environments. So thank you again. And thank you to everyone watching us today, and enjoy the show.